Whenever you feel comfortable, walk me through slow flight.
Yeah, so we're gonna put in, we're gonna slow the plane down. We're gonna get 100% flaps.
Okay.
And we're looking for a buzzer to start with, okay? That's gonna be our starting number. We're gonna round up to the nearest 5, and then what we're gonna do is try to maintain that.
Perfect. So we'll maintain, what are the 3 constants in, let's go ahead and add some power to 40% so it doesn't get all that mushy. What are the 3 constants in slow flight? Remember the upside down triangle?
Yeah.
What are the 3 constants in slow flight?
It's going to be speed, heading, and altitude.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All 3 of those things we're constantly paying attention to. Not 1, not 2, but all 3.
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely solid. So whenever you're ready,
yeah.
I want to see a heading of 160, which is what we're on.
Right.
4,500 feet. And we'll dirty the plane up. We'll get flaps in there.
Yeah.
And then we'll go ahead and find the stall horn. Easy?
Yeah.
Take it away, sir.
All right. We got first notch of flaps. We'll pull back.
So let's disconnect autopilot.
Yeah.
There you are. Take it away. Solid work. Good. 45. Again, not looking for perfect or anything. This is a nice intro. We'll get used to it. We'll get comfortable with it. And we'll see what the plane feels like. We'll see what power amount we need. Blah, 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 blah. Very nice. Let's call it 70. So maintain 70 knots.
Okay.
It just gets a little mushy after that. And show me 4,500 feet. This is where you'll really start realizing what altitude in slow flight looks like, how much power is needed to get back to it. You need a lot of power to get back to 45 while maintaining 70 knots. Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nuts. It really shows you what drag does. While maintaining 80 knots, just a little buffer, give me a left turn heading 340.
You said?
340. Good. 4,500 feet and 70 knots. Hand on the throttle. Good. And take your time, however long it takes you to kind of get there. So 4,500 feet, 70 knots. I want you to feel what that feels like. Any initial realizations with slow flight?
Well, yeah, altitude's the issue. I mean, the hardest part.
In what way? To maintain it or to, yeah. The most difficult thing in slow flight, not difficult, but it just takes most attention, most work is really getting it back once you lost it.
Right.
Because defending it is easier than getting it back.
Right.
That's the thing about slow flight, you really don't want to lose your altitude. Because getting it back takes a lot, because you're on the back side of the power curve.
Right.
Good. 340, 4,500 feet, 70 knots. altitude. You see what?
Yep.
There you go. So you need more power.
Caution, underspeed.
More power. More power. You want to look at your VSI.
Right.
Right? So if the VSI is coming down, that means we're descending. Our trend is coming down. More power. And pick the nose up. Pick the nose up. Good. So now maintain 70 with the nose. Pick the nose up. Good. Maintain 70 with the pitch. Good. And the byproduct of that will be a climb.
Caution,
See that?
underspeed.
The plane is climbing.
PV practice area, swing 432, Romeo, over at the Gulf
Caution,
course.
underspeed.
Tell you what, show me 75 knots.
Practicing steep turns, PV.
Caution, underspeed.
Just because I want her to be quiet. 75 knots at 4,500 feet. So now that we reached 45, we lowered the nose. So now what do we need to do with our
We
power?
need to pull some power.
Exactly, so we don't accelerate. Absolutely solid. And these relationships are part of what will cement in your head by doing slow flight. I reduced my angle of attack. I need to reduce my power if I wish to not accelerate.
Right.
Good. Another thing we're realizing is what's called fixation. We're so focused on these two, look what happened to the heading.
Right.
Right? And that's a normal human condition. It takes a conscious, deliberate effort to keep your eyes moving and
Right.
swinging. And you'll hear this a lot during instrument. You could be so focused on one thing, you completely lose the other.
Right.
Right? So I'm not shocked you're doing it, you're human.
Right.
But part of what I want you to take away from this is if I don't keep consciously looking at all
Caution,
my stuff, I
underspeed.
lose them.
Right.
All right? So let's see if we can hold 4,500 feet, 75 knots, and a heading of
Caution,
340.
underspeed.
Let's see if we could figure that out and how close to that we could come.
Caution, underspeed. Caution, underspeed.
Keep your hand on the throttle. There you go. Beautiful. This looks good. Level off now at 45. Good. Reduce power just a hair. Good. Now hold 45. Reduce power a little more. Good. There you go. Perfect. And see what that does. It should settle the speed. Good. Let's stay on our heading. Beautiful. Hold 45. Hold 45. Pick the nose up a little bit. Good. 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 There's 45. There's 340. Good. Look at that, Jibs.
Yep.
Look at that.
Got it?
How does that feel?
Got it.
It's very fine tuning. What did we say yesterday? The closer to the edge you get
Right.
with the performance envelope, the more sensitive everything becomes. Every single minute move and change affects everything else.
Right.
Right? You pick the nose up a little bit, your speed starts dropping.
Right.
You lower the nose, speed starts building. Everything is extremely sensitive.
Right.
All right, while maintaining 4,500 feet and 75 knots, I want you to turn left to a heading of 300. Don't worry about turning until you wrote it down on the airplane.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Add some power, because we'll lose our altitude. Remember that in the turn? Beautiful. And then when you roll wings level again, you could reduce that power and lower the... Exactly. Good. On a heading of 300, show me 4,500 feet and 75 knots.
PV practice area, 432 Romeo is...
This is a very important thing to look at, the VSI, right? So if we're under our altitude and the VSI is smack on zero, are we getting back to our altitude?
Underspeed.
No, so we need the VSI to point up if we ever wish to get back up to our altitude. Absolutely solid. If I were you, I'd add some power because we're 5 knots slow and we're a hair under our altitude. Beautiful. Good. There we go. There's 45. Lower the nose to hold 45 a touch. And then you could reduce the power by a hair so we don't... Good. Hold 45. There you go. Absolutely solid. In slow flight, 4,500 feet, 75 knots. Give me a right turn, Jimmy, heading 180. right turn 180. So first write it on the airplane. Don't worry about turning yet. Write it on the airplane. And once you have it in there, we'll turn right to a heading of 180. Solid, good. Take your time. Now remember, we're in a turn, we need some more back pressure, and therefore we need to add some power. Good, they come together. Phenomenal. A little more power, look at our
Caution,
speed.
underspeed.
Good. Proud of you, James, look at that. How does it feel?
Caution, underspeed.
Pretty straightforward?
Yeah.
It takes a minute to get that through your brain. Once it's clicked in, you're like, you could do it all day.
Underspeed.
Right? You see how sensitive the plane becomes?
Yeah.
On this side, right? We're kind of hanging by a thread.
Right.
There's a lot of drag going on. What types of drag? Both. Induced, we have a very high angle of attack, and a lot of parasitic. You got a big fat metal board sticking out towards the relative wind on each side with flaps 100. So you have a lot of drag going on. We're hanging by a thread. You need a lot of power to do these crazy slow speeds, which is weird on the brain to compute. It doesn't initially make sense.
Yeah.
Good, let's keep that 45 and 75. So we'll reduce power and lower the nose slightly. Very nice. Nice shallow turns. Do you remember, Jimmy, how do we climb or descend in slow flight from what we talked about yesterday?
Yeah.
If you feel comfortable, let's go ahead and climb to 5,000 feet on a heading of 180 while maintaining 75 knots. So we said, what's the first thing we do when it comes to turns to headings or climbs or descents? First thing is we write it on the airplane. So let's plug in 5,000 feet. Good. Now, if you remember from what we talked about yesterday, to climb in slow flight, all you need to do is create some excess power and continue maintaining 75 with your yoke with pitch. All right, so go ahead and add, that's enough, that's good, not too much, right there's good. Maintain 75 knots with pitch. Do whatever you need to do with the pitch to smack 75 on there. Let's add a touch more power. Good. Maintain 75, and let's stay on our heading. Remember, there's a lot to look at. Maintain 75. Good. Your only job is 75 here with that. That's it.
Right.
Because the power is constant. You set it and leave it. Let's add a little more power. Even a little more. Good. Maintain 75 with your pitch.
TV practice area, swing 432, Romeo.
And I want you to tell me what the byproduct of what you're doing is.
Angels Gate, going back to Torrance,
It's a climb.
3,000 feet, TV.
The only way to maintain 75 with pitch, with this current amount of power, is by going up. Make sense?
Yep.
And that's how you climb in slow flight. You create extra power, and you continue maintaining your speed with your pitch. How quickly or slowly you wish to climb is how much power you give it.
Right.
If I added a little more power here and I said continue maintaining 75 with pitch, no problem. You'll continue maintaining 75 with pitch, but what did that do to your rate of climb?
Yeah.
It went up.
Right.
Make sense?
Yep.
Because the only way with this amount of power to maintain 75 is by pitching up further. Simple? I want you to keep doing what you're doing, your throttle. When we get to 5,000, level off and maintain 5,000 and 75 knots. Let's reduce power so we don't go way overboard. Phenomenal, Jimmy. Look at you. Incredible. Give me a right turn heading 350. So we'll first write it on the airplane. Beautiful. And it'll be a right turn. Nice. You're adding power and adding back pressure so we don't descend and get slow. I think you're a pro at slow flight. What do you think?
You're the instructor, buddy. You tell me.
Look at this. James, this is Perfect.
Okay, good, good.
How does it feel to you?
Feels good.
Good. Once we get on that heading, we'll get a little descent coming, and then we'll get into some stalls.
Okay.
How you feeling? You feel good?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Solid.
Hungry, but feel good.
Hungry?
Yeah.
When are we not, Jimmy?
I know.
When are we not? I'm hungry in my sleep. I'm just not awake to notice. What speed do we want to be at, Jim?
Yeah, I got a little bit of the wind.
Are we blaming the wind today?
No, it's me just trying to. Yeah, I am blaming the wind. Yeah.
Are we blaming the wind?
Yeah.
The best thing you could ever do for yourself as a pilot
Blame the wind.
is take full responsibility always.
Right.
Always. Always.
Just easy to blame the wind.
But it's not. It's not a professional pilot move.
I know.
Professional pilots own everything.
Right.
Professional pilot has a horrible landing and still thanks their passengers on the way out.
Oh, yeah.
They own it. They own it. That's what a professional pilot does. Okay, 75 knots, 5,000 feet, 350. Show me 5,000 feet, 75 knots, 350. Like we need a little more power.
Yeah.
Isn't it nuts being on the back side of the power curve? Because coming here, we were 40% power doing 140.
Right.
Because we were on the front side of the power curve. Crazy. Good. Whenever you feel comfortable and you're ready to go, Jimmy, I want you to go ahead and descend down to 4,500 feet while maintaining 75 knots. What's the first thing we do? Write it on the airplane. Good. How do we do it? The exact same way we climb, but opposite. Reduce power and continue maintaining 75 with pitch. Easy enough? Take it away. Look at that. Easy. Even I could do it.
I hope so.
That's it. Easy, Jims. Beautiful. Beautiful. If you wanted to shallow your descent rate, what would you do with your power right now?
Try that power.
Good. Oh, phenomenal. Jimmy gets it. Good, and then I want to see you leveling off at 4,500 feet. 75 knots.
We are westbound 3,000.
And a heading at 350. 4,500 feet, 75 knots, and 350. What a pro. Jimmy?
Yep. Golf clap? I got the golf clap?
I'm very proud of you, man.
All right.
Really phenomenal work. Seriously. Seriously phenomenal work. I always knew you got good stick and rudder skills, but let me tell you something.
Thanks, buddy.
Really good stuff.